Hey guys, welcome back. Welcome back to another video. This is once again another news-related video. I swear I have like so many of them here that I have going on. Now this is actually gonna be the second to the last one. A lot of these were stuff that's already been talked about before. I've seen people talk about some of this stuff. But because I've been having a lot of stuff going on, I figured, I'm gonna talk about it anyway, but I had to push the videos back a little bit because between my medication acting up and then other stuff going on, I have not really gotten around to it. But like I've said in past videos, I do plan on, going and doing a separate video on that, talking about that stuff. But that said though, if you guys haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell. I would really appreciate that. Sorry, my throat's a little bit dry. We had a storm that has came in, so if I start coughing a little bit, then we had a storm kind of come in, so I kind of got my throat all scratchy a little bit. So I'm coughing too. That's kind of it's like an allergy thing and all that. But you guys can also follow me on, like I said, Instagram and Twitter and all that. And I am trying to get to 1K subs. So if you guys, if you guys can help me out with that, you guys can. And with cartoons and all that, because that's kind of what this news-related video is going to be about. I also have a DaVinci art where I'll be trying to post stuff for people to art and all that. I don't know if it'll be a full-time thing or not. I'm kind of I don't really like making the art much, but I'm kind of doing it for other people, but I figured I can sell some of it and all that to make some money, but I haven't really figured out all that yet. So, but yeah, it is for an older audience. If you guys, have any specific characters you want me to draw in certain styles and all that, I'll do that for you guys. But like I said, I don't know if I'll do it forever or not. But yeah, I figured I'd bring that up. I actually had that going for a long time, and then for a while back there, not really a long time, but a while back there, but couldn't get a lot of stuff to work out. Now I've got some apps to try out that are helping me out with some of that, so yeah. That said though, it's time to, go ahead and stop my introduction and actually talk about today's news-related video, which is, one I actually wanted to discuss here. This is apparently a shocking one here, but apparently, Warner Brothers here, Warner Brothers apparently has come out and said, I don't remember who it is exactly in the company, but there's people in the Warner Brothers company coming out and apparently saying that they're actually, that they actually are missing DVDs, and that DVDs are not the same as streaming, and that DVDs seem to kind of be a better thing and all that. Which I'm just looking at this and I'm just I'm kind of shocked that they're doing this, but also I'm kind of not. If it were Disney doing this, I'd be a little bit more shocked, but because Disney, out of all the companies, tends to be the slow learner of crap, and I actually do have a video talking about them, which is something that currently has happened in the last day and all that, which I'll be discussing. But that'll be the last thing I'll talk about, and then I'll probably do my updated video and all, and try to get back into reviews. But this is one of those that has popped up a long time ago, so that's why I wanted to make this Warner Brothers video here. But it kind of caught my eye. Or I guess eyes. It caught my eyes, but yeah, I'm just shocked that they're like this. So basically, because Warner Brothers, many other Hollywood studios, they kind of started off at Netflix, then they went to Hulu and all that, and then, and then they basically kind of spun their crap off all into, like, their own streaming services and all that. Some of them have been around for a while, but then they kind of merged them together. So, like, Paramount had their own Nickelodeon, channel, on their streaming platform, Noggin and all that, and you had to get them separate and all that, which I felt like was just stupid. Then they combined them together and all that. Same with, Warner Brothers. I think they had, like, a cartoon streaming app and all you could buy separate. I guess, to be fair, if you don't want to have to buy all the channels, because a lot of times I think people with Dish and cable, like, had, like, basically, they had, like, their, I guess Dish should be satellite TV, but they had, like, that's what we had was Dish. My mom had cable, my dad had Dish, but we, we had all these channels and all that, and we didn't really watch a bunch of them, we just happened to get them, so maybe that's why they were separated, but eventually they kind of just combined to their one, all in one and all that, but now it seems like they're all kind of struggling here to keep up, because they're losing money, and Netflix is kind of kicking their ass, and YouTube is too. YouTube's kicking, their asses too, which I'm just like, I don't know, YouTube, I'm just like, don't get me wrong, I like the viewers and all that, but I don't know, I don't think YouTube is really in the same place it was, like, a decade ago. The content on it, like, honestly, a lot of creators on YouTube have kind of left because they kind of gotten fed up with YouTube shit and all that, and their censor, stuff and all that. They censor crap and all that, and people have kind of have been leaving the platform. I've been seeing a lot of that. Like, I have so many subscribers so many people I'm subscribed to that have made, great content that no longer post on there. A lot of these people are some of these people, some of them are gone completely. Like, I think, like, Pie Guy Rules and Jim Reviews and all that, for example, they both were content creators. Pie Guy was one that was around for a long time before he retired. Jim Reviews was another YouTuber, but he wasn't around as long, but he kind of retired too, but he basically, basically, left he's left the, like, platform and all that, but they can't really, contact him anywhere anymore. And then, like I said, there's some YouTubers, like Nathaniel Bandy and all that still are active, but, like, they barely post anything anymore, and a lot of times, his stuff's on Twitch, which I'm just like, I wish it wasn't on Twitch, because, I know YouTube's got problems with censorship, but I'm like, what's the point of putting it on Twitch? Twitch, the crap's just gonna be deleted in, like, a month or two anyway, so I'm just like, wouldn't it be better off just to have it on, YouTube? I don't know, it doesn't make any sense, but, I just don't get it, but, that said, though, that's kind of what's been happening there. Now, people are just kind of leaving the platform and going to other places. It's kind of just getting to that, and once there's more competitors out there, I think YouTube's probably going to be not number one anymore, but I don't know, but right now, apparently, they're, like, number one, which I can kind of believe that, but Netflix is, like, second, and all that, and, Disney Plus and all that is, like, pretty far down there. Of course, Disney Plus, says they're, like, they got all this, they have all this, content and all that, and they're, like, basically kicking Netflix ass or something, and they're, like, up there trying to compete with them, and, I'm like, I don't see them doing that, because I'm like, a lot of people are not happy with their decisions, like Warner Brothers and all that, so I don't see the point of that. Like, I just think all this crap is stupid. There's just too many services and all that, and I think Warner Brothers is realizing that, because they're starting to go back to DVDs. They're putting a lot of their old Cartoon Network shows on DVD, and actually a good chunk of their Cartoon Network shows are leaving the platform, and they're not coming back. So like for example, like there's actually this is actually pretty cool, but I'm just like, here's the thing. I thought about actually buying this, but then I'm like I don't know if it'll have special features, because that's my one issue with Warner Brothers with their DVDs, is a lot of their modern ones, they don't really have like they have very good deals on some of the stuff. The problem is though is a lot of their DVDs, you know, although they're cheap and you can get a lot of content with them, you can't get the special features and all that with them, which really sucks. So you're gonna be stuck getting the older stuff anyway, you know. That's kind of what you know has happened there, and all. So I've been just getting the stuff separated. Like, I mean, unless it's a movie I really hate, because I mean I'm collecting the movies I hate too, because well, personally, you know, because I do reviews and top 10s and all that, I want to have, you know, the content there, so I don't want to have to go dragging, you know, on streaming and acquiring or buying a bunch of them for a monthly subscription just to like do one review. You know, I don't think it's worth it. You know, that's why I've been buying DVDs. I've been buying this. I told you guys many times before that when Netflix, well, I was already buying some DVDs anyway, because when our house got robbed, I still bought DVDs. Because I personally collect DVDs. I certain ones I'll buy. Like, I actually buy certain ones that they have, like, the little, like, if there are ones I really like. Like, there's actually these, SpongeBob DVDs. God, I wish I still had them. I've actually been getting them back. Like, I went to this Goodwill, and I actually, because I think I showed it off on my channel, in, like, Mexico. I found these SpongeBob DVD sets there. I don't know if they were completed, because I think that like one of the notes was missing in it, but it's like really cool box sets and all that. I no longer have the season 5 one, but I love the season 5 artwork. It's really cool. And that's the thing though, that's what I did. I bought that stuff back in the day. Like, if it's movies I really liked, I would buy it. And then some of them, like, I didn't watch as much. I would watch them on streaming, but basically once Netflix got rid of pretty much all the, I think there was a couple like Nickelodeon shows that were on there. That was basically my last straw, and I'm realizing they're not gonna last forever on there. I was like, you know what? I should probably go ahead and go buy the DVDs. So when Hastings was still open, I went and I bought me a shit ton of DVDs at Hastings and all that, you know, when they were still around, and you know, and bought me up a bunch of DVDs. They actually didn't go bankrupt because of streaming. They went bankrupt because of other problems. They were having a lot of issues, you know, paying for like stuff and all. Like, well, their CEO is overspending on, you know, on stuff, you know, and all that. Like, you know, not really putting money into the business and all that. So that's kind of why they shut down. Because they had more than just movies. They had like other stuff too. That's why they survived for so long. Slackers and V-Stock kind of took over that though, which ironically they're both in the mall. The V-Stock in the mall and Jeff kind of sucks though, because they don't really have any new ones, DVDs coming in. You could get some newer ones, but you could get them to order some, but you have to pay them. I'm not gonna pay them to, you know, because I'm basically paying like extra money to get a DVD that I can probably just like buy cheaper online. I mean, I'm trying not to do that because, you know, I'm trying to support the stores, but I'm like, I shouldn't have to pay them like $5 to $6 just to like order something that's already like, you know, like almost $20. You know what I'm saying? That's ridiculous. But that said, though, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of what I've been doing and all that. Like, I've been buying DVDs and all that because of what happened there. Because I saw this happening. I knew this was gonna be bad. I knew what was gonna happen here, and that's what's happening, you know. And people didn't listen to me. People were like, "It's not gonna be that bad." And then like the same thing with you know, Netflix. Like, people are like, they're not gonna raise their prices like too bad and all that. And I'm like, they're gonna wait till they have no competition anymore, and then they're gonna start jacking their prices up. And now they don't really have competition anymore, so not just them, but other streaming platforms are raising their prices. Because, we don't have Family Video anymore. We don't have, Family Video, you didn't really own the DVDs anyway, but, I think there was, a section you could, buy stuff and actually own it, but most of the time you could only, you didn't actually own it, you had to actually, you didn't actually own the DVDs. You actually had to, rent them and all that, but like I said, Blockbuster, when they closed, Blockbuster pretty much, they stuck around for a long time, but then, I think it was 2017 or 2018, they closed, the last of the Blockbusters, leaving the only one in Oregon, open, so, I think it was Alaska was, the last place to have Blockbusters. So, that kind of, messed that up a bit, and then, like I said, we had, now stores are getting rid of their DVDs and all that, which they kind of kept them around for a while too, but that's the thing though, they were trying so desperately to get people to go and, I said subscribe to their platforms, but I'm like, that's not going to stop. That might stop people from buying DVDs and buy the platforms a little bit, but I'm like, people can't afford all this stuff, and all that, and with streaming, they keep censoring crap, and you don't really get to have the special features and all that you do on the DVDs. And like I said, there's also the box art too, which is really cool, and the DVD menus, which I guess technically kind of suck now, but back in the day, they were really cool, So clearly, it was different back then, now it's not like that anymore. But that's the thing, though, it's just I think streaming is just collapsing. Now, I don't think it's probably going to completely go away, but I think we're going to be down to probably just a few here in the future. Warner Brothers is already merging their platform with Disney and Hulu a bit. Obviously they can't just sell the company to Disney because, I think that would be an antitrust, issue with Disney and all, because Disney already had a hard time buying Fox as it is, but they actually were forced to sell some of Fox's assets when they bought it because they already owned their own news station and all that, so they couldn't get Fox News or their sports because they had ESPN, So, I don't think they'd be allowed to buy Warner Brothers. They actually were tempted to buy them, back in the day before they were going to buy Fox, but then, AT&T acquired them, but they'd say beat them to it. So I'm actually kind of, Warner Brothers is completely downhill too, but if Disney freaking acquired, if they actually acquired Warner Brothers, it probably would be a lot worse than it already is, because Disney always finds a way to make something bad and somehow worse. That's kind of what happened with Fox too. When they acquired Fox, somehow they actually made it worse. Fox was still producing some good content, but they were kind of lacking there. In the 2010s, they were starting to lack. A lot of their shows and content was being milked to death. So a lot of their franchises weren't making bank anymore and were kind of running their course, So when Disney acquired it, they kind of milked them more, and then they kind of, threw this whole, characters have to be voiced by a specific, colored skin and all, which I still don't get, because, they do the opposite in their live action movies, so, but that's kind of why, like I said, I'm glad they didn't acquire Warner Brothers, because if you think Warner Brothers is bad now, it probably could be a lot worse. I'm just saying, it could be a lot worse. And hell, they don't, with Disney acquiring Fox, they're not really releasing as many DVDs either. Which is kind of funny because, that's kind of what's confusing. So, they're not releasing Family Guy or The Simpsons DVDs anymore, but they released Avatar, the sequel to it. They released it on DVD. They've released, some of their other shows on DVD, but Family Guy and The Simpsons and all that, you cannot find any more DVDs of them. American Dad, same way. There are no more DVDs of them. Unless there's some in other countries, but like here in the U.S., yeah, there are no more DVDs of them. But some of them have DVDs, some of them don't. I just don't get it. But with Warner Brothers, at least they're like, pushing out DVDs. And that's kind of where I kind of was talking about with the whole like, I think their platform's not doing very good, and I think they're like I said they're even them admitting that DVDs are better. I think they're actually saying that not just because their platform is failing, but also because I think they really mean it. Because because DVDs are different than streaming. They are different. They are definitely different. And that's what was so cool about them back in the day, Like I talked about the SpongeBob DVDs, there was a bunch of different ones there. So, I mean, that's the thing, though. I'm just like, I don't know, I don't know, here's the thing. I'm just like, that's the thing with fam, like I said, DVDs too, like, they can take up a lot of space on your shelf. They can, but, the thing is, though, there are a lot of content people don't like, either, but, that's the thing, too. I just don't think, streaming is going to replace DVDs. That's the thing, because DVDs, you actually own it. You don't really own, you don't really own, the stuff on, Hulu and Disney Plus and all that. You don't own all that. You just have it available on there, but they can still censor it, So, yeah. That's the thing, though. I just don't have a lot to say about this, but, I didn't want to point out this. I was talking about the Ben 10 on DVD. So, apparently, there's talk that they're actually going to go back and fix it, too, because there were some problems with the Ben 10 DVD. Apparently, they did not include all the episodes, so I think they're going to go back and redo it, so they're going to make another cop version of it. Which, studios do this all the time. Like, SpongeBob, for example, like Nickelodeon with SpongeBob and the 100 episodes, they actually have had, like, I talked about them in the SpongeBob video I was talking about with the channel and all that, how they've been focusing a lot on SpongeBob and all that, but perhaps a little too much. I did talk about I was talking about, I brought up the whole 100 episodes, thing. There actually are multiple different versions of it. That's why I was talking about, like, you gotta be careful which ones you buy, because some of them are not set very well, but that's kind of the thing there. But usually they don't release them this fast. So, the fact that Warner Brothers is actually which, I don't know if they're gonna do it or not. I just heard people talking about it. Like, if they're actually going to go back and actually fix it, that tells you that Warner Brothers, I think, is kind of going to DVDs. I think they are, because the people are upset that they're removing cartoons and all that from their platform, but they're removing not just cartoons, I think they're removing a lot of stuff on their platform. I think, honestly, they kind of are just putting a lot of their content on DVD. That said, though, I still don't know why they would rebrand their platform back to, HBO Max if they're gonna just, if they're just removing their content on there anyway. I'm just like, wouldn't it be better just to shut it down altogether? I don't know. I guess to be fair, though, maybe they can't shut it down right off the bat. Maybe they have to wait, because maybe they might have some licensing, stuff with their platform. I don't know. Because maybe they have to require to keep it open. I don't know. I just think it's kind of weird, because they're removing a lot of their content from their platform, but they're bringing back the HBO, Max logo, So I don't know. It's kind of weird. It really is weird. It really is. But that said, though, I guess we'll see where this goes and all that. But oh yeah, I was gonna say too. I want to point this out. So a lot of people are saying too that Warner Brothers is coming out and saying also that people in there are saying that there's also a disc rot thing too going on. I have a lot of older Warner Brothers DVDs, and I haven't had problems with disc rot. So I don't know what's going on there. Possibly maybe it's not taking care of your disc very well. I don't know. Now, some of mine are scratched up. That's probably because when I was little, I didn't necessarily know how to like hold a disc, you know. So it's just like, I mean, now I know how to hold a disc. You gotta hold it in the, you know, that's why they have a little hole, the donut hole in there and all. You gotta hold it in there to like, so you don't scratch it up, you know. But you gotta hold the edge and all, and put your thumb in the middle so you don't scratch it up. That's the thing though, I don't know, I never really had problems with that, and I've also watched some movies many times, so I know like it won't wear out like VHS's. VHS tapes, I've had some, I think, that have wore out a bit over time. They've kind of decayed a little bit. DVDs, I've not had problems at all. I've watched like movies like Ice Age. I've watched that movie many times. I'm not kidding, like literally many times, and never had problems with the disc wearing out. So, like I said, I don't know what's going on there. I don't know what's wrong with that, but I don't know. I don't know if it's something you probably should be super concerned about. And even if you are, they might be able to make something to fix it. I don't know. I was hearing there's something that I think that can fix VHS tapes too. I think there's that. I was hearing something like that. I looked up equipment for that, but I don't know. I just don't really have like any room to really put that in the house right now. So yeah, I already got my folks trying to like make me get rid of stuff, but I'm like it only looks like I got a bunch of stuff because all my stuff's cramped in my room. But if I like move it out of my, you know, my room and all that, like there's not really as much there as they think. But I don't know. But that's pretty much all I have to say there. So I'm gonna go ahead and let things go from here. Talk to you guys all later. Tell me what you guys think about this, you know, in the comments below. And I'll see you all later. Bye-bye.